Let's bring in former Navy JAG officer Don Brown. Don, thanks for joining us once again.
Thanks for having me, Alicia. Good to be with you.
Good to be with you. So the war, obviously having a growing toll in American blood and treasure. Does that change the military calculus for the United States, or do you think it's going to make further escalation more likely?
Well, we've lost 3 Americans, which is sad and unfortunate. We've lost 14 up until just a couple of days ago, and now 3 more have been killed. 2 of those were killed in a missile drone attack in Jordan at an air base, and the third in Iraq on what appears to be an accidental, death where we're trying to demine an Iranian drone. So 2 of those were direct product of attack. The third was an accident. They're Americans who've lost their lives, and certainly I think the more Americans we lose, the harder it's going to be. But we've got a situation now where they're threatening, that is Iran, to disrupt shipping in the Red Sea through the Houthis, which would bring an entirely different dynamic into play in terms of cutting international shipping. So, we'll have to see how that goes as well. But there are more dynamics in place than there were a week or 2 ago, Alicia. So we'll see how it plays out.
Okay, so Hegseth, he defended the administration's emergency war funding request today. I mean, the hearing is still going on. From what you heard, what stood out to you about his testimony?
Well, I've been watching it some off and on. The request is for another $67 billion for the military, and a lot of it to go to the war. This is an emergency request for money. Pete's indicated that it is absolutely necessary in order to continue to fuel the war effort to protect our soldiers, sailors, airmen, and Marines in the area. It is an expensive proposition. The missiles that we use, the cruise missiles, the munitions that we are firing is very expensive. And at least we're in a situation, what is called asymmetrical warfare, where the Iranians are using cheap but effective weapons to disrupt shipping. They can't really threaten our military or threaten our national existence, but they certainly can threaten the economy. And so this is one of the challenges we've got to face in terms of how to combat these things. Matt Gaetz was on his show just the other night, and he had a comment, and I agree with it. The Iranian Navy, for example, is now like a bunch of Boston whalers with RPGs. Now, he's exaggerating a little bit for effect. We've put their Navy on the bottom of the Gulf, but they're still able to disrupt commercial shipping. And right now, the threat to commercial shipping, first in the Persian Gulf and now into the Red Sea as well, if that comes about, is more of an immediate threat than the nuclear threat. Not that nuclear is not going to be a threat, but the immediate threat is disruption to the economy. So those are the challenges we're looking at.
We've already seen gas prices go up once again. What does all this signal about where the conflict is headed?
Well, the Iranians want war. Let's be clear. And the issue partially is who's in charge. You've got negotiators that go and come up with an MOU, but I believe the Republican Guard, the radical group, is in charge. I believe that they're all radical, but I believe that the mullahs have not been totally decapitated, but certainly weakened with the first round of strikes that killed Khamenei. But I think it's in the interest of the Republican Guards and the Iranians to stretch the war out. Why is that? They stretch the war out. They push gas prices up. That threatens Republican control of Congress in November. And if the Democrats take control of the Congress in November, the Iranians are home free. We saw what happened the last time a Democrat was in the White House. He gave him billions and billions of dollars. At least Obama did. That was 2 Democrat presidents ago. But it is a strategic objective of the Iranians, in my opinion, to prolong the war, to try to drive up prices, to try to hurt Republicans at the polls in November.
Okay, so what is success? At this point, what does success look like here?
Success in the short run, I think, Alicia, is to keep the freedom of navigation open, and so that we're able to bring tankers out through the Persian Gulf, and also continue freedom of navigation in the Red Sea. That is short-term success, and to do so in a way that doesn't, severely, impact fuel, oil, and gasoline prices in the United States. That's short-term success. I think if Trump gets past the November elections with Republicans in control of Congress, there's going to be hell to pay for Iran at that point. But right now, it is a sticky situation because you've got this delicate balance between fuel prices, oil prices, how it's affecting the American electorate, and at the same time doing what we need to do to make sure the international flow of shipping continues, both in the Red Sea and the Persian Gulf.
Right. We need the strait opened up just like it was before the war. Don Brown, former Navy JAG officer, appreciate your insight today, as always.
Appreciate you, Alicia. Thank you so much.
You got it.